This is Sandra, your lock girl here in Virginia Beach. Today I want to talk to you about the IQ lock. It's a Power G lock made for the Qolsys panels. I haven't seen a YouTube video yet on YouTube for rekeying the tumblers of these locks. So the lock pins that are used for these IQ locks are actually quick set pins. So yeah, hence the quick set keys. And to repin this, I'm going to give you a step-by-step tutorial because there isn't one on YouTube, and a lot of people need to know about this. So I have a client that wants 6 of these in their home, and of course they want just one set of keys. So the first thing you're going to do is take this out of the box, take your key out. You're going to pull the rubber matting off. Okay, I've already taken the 6 screws out. So there's 6 screws that go around to take off the back piece. Okay, take your cable out, put that to the side, and now you're exposed to the inside of your lock. This is your tail piece, your little tumbler, and there's a locking screw. So that big fat screw right there is what holds this whole tail piece and center core in, which is your actual key. Okay, so we're going to take that out. You're going to need a decent screwdriver. The little tweaker screwdrivers just isn't going to do it because it's in there pretty tight. This is my last lock of the day. I've already done 5 of them, and it's not bad. So you take your little screw out, put it to the side. Okay, and now your whole tail piece and your center tumbler comes out just like so. I'm going to set that to the side. And now we're going to take our little tool. First, we got to take our key, put it back in our lock. This will help you hold your lock as well. Gives you a little more better grip on it. So you're going to take this tool, you're going to slide it over your tail piece, and you'll notice there's a little brass button there. So that little button is what locks this round piece in that holds the tail piece in. So when you put this in, it pushes on that, and it allows you to unscrew it. So when you're unscrewing it, just keep pushing it and going until the whole thing comes off. So the tail piece and that end will come off. And then you're going to set that to the side. Okay? Now, really important here, you have a little pin, that little brass pin that I just showed you. Take a look at it. It's got a notch on the top. You always want to make sure the notch is on the top. Underneath that is a spring. I'm not pulling it out because the spring is just going to pop out and then I got to put it back in. So just keep note of that, that notch piece is what sticks out of the side. Then we have this tool here. This tool here you can use instead of using a shim. This is a shim, this little plastic aluminum thing. Fun fact, these little aluminum things you can get out of any department store. They're in the clothing tags. So if you're ever out on a job and you need a shim and you don't have one, you can always head to any department store and ask them for one of their little security tags. Get you a little shim. You never know when you're getting a bind and you need something like that. So your little tool, where your spring is, you're going to slide it straight over and you're going to make sure this flat part goes in on the top as you push through. So the top of this mechanism here has a whole bunch of other springs in it in the top here, and you don't want those to pop out because then you're going to have a big old mess on your hand, and that's a whole nother YouTube video. We're going to set that to the side. Okay, we still have our little pin in place, and if you notice, when I pull the key out, all the little pins drop. When I put the key in, they all line back up. Okay, so that means that this key works for this lock. Well, we want to rekey this, so we're going to dump these pins down here. Okay, now we have no pins in there. So any key will fit in there right now. Okay, so we have no pins in there. Now we're going to take the set of keys that we want to key this lock for, and we're going to stick that key in. Of course, I can't see. There we go. So now that's in. okay? And that fits. And now we're going to put the appropriate pins in for this key, because all the other 5 locks are keyed for this key, okay? So we're going to take our big old tweezers here, and we're going to start. I always start at towards the key end when I'm rekeying, which you should. And I have all my pins pre-laid out. Of course, I'm going to drop one here. You know, I never thought that I would ever get into locksmithing, but the Department of Criminal Justice Service requires it in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So with that being said, of course, you know, they want us to pay the money every year and do the training. But to do home automation locks, you have to be licensed as a locksmith from the Department of Criminal Justice Service. So you got to take the class. You got to have it on your registration. And every 2 years you got to do another class and pay again. So it's all about the money. But this is what I do my locksmithing for, is our home automation locks for our security company. Okay, now we are pinned to the key. So now when I take it out, they'll all drop. And when I put them back in on my shear line, they're all together. You see that? Okay, now we're going to put it back together. So the first thing we want to do is we want to line this back up again, and we want to slide our top springs over the lock. And we don't want to drop anything, and we want to keep everything right and tight. There we go, and now that's on board. We can release that. Then we're going to put our tailpiece back on. Okay, and that's just a matter of screwing it back in. You don't want to get it too tight. If you get it too tight, your key is not going to turn, okay? And once you get it in place, that little brass piece will pop out and it'll lock it in place, okay? Now you can turn your key. So that one's good. Then we're going to have to take the key out, okay? Set that down. Turn our lock back over. Stick our tailpiece and cylinder back in. Okay, and now we're going to put our set screw back in. This is really important. This set screw is what keeps your center tumbler from coming out of your lock. And you have to put it in there pretty tight. If you don't get it tight, this is what will happen. You see how it moves around like that? Anytime you get a lock that's like that, that means your center screw is not tight. You need to take the lock apart and retighten it. So tighten it down, get it in there good, okay? Don't strip the screw. Now it's in there and it's not moving. Test your key, make sure it's going all the way around, it's not hanging up. If it was hanging up, then I would go back in and check that tailpiece, this part right here, make sure it's not too tight. And there you have it. Then you're gonna put your metal plate back on, put your tailpiece through, put your 6 screws back in place, throw your rubber gasket back over top, and you have just rekeyed your IQ lock for the Qualsis panel. So if you'd like to see some more lock videos, they may not be perfect, but they will be right. Hit your lock girl up at Family Security and subscribe to our video. Thanks.